Hi everyone, my name's Electric Donkey, and today we are back on another GameMaker tutorial. And today we are obviously going to be carrying on with the No Man's Sky project. So without further ado, let's just go straight into it. So in the last video, if you remember, we started to add some ores. Now I was busy having a look earlier at what No Man's Sky actually has in the game, and I was thinking, you know, we've done a lot on the planets so far. What about we go outside the planets and do a bit more work inside our actual space? Because our space is looking a little bit bare at the moment. So now's got me thinking, you know, what could we add in the space? And I was thinking, in No Man's Sky they have meteors and things you can hit, rocks that are floating around randomly in space. So that made me think, you know, we could make a meteor thing floating around in space. So, today that is what we're going to be doing. So, let's just quickly make a sprite now. I know I've been relatively good in this series at not making sprites in the video, but just this once I'm just going to quickly whip something up. So it is just going to be some random shape thing. Okie dokie, that's going to be our rock. Even though it looks nothing like a rock. Now you could obviously go in and spend a lot more time doing that, but for this I'm just going to do that quickly. So we're going to have to make a object, and it's going to be called object rock creator. Yeah. And then we'll have another object which is going to be called object rock. Now basically what we're going to do is we're going to have our object rock creator is going to go in our room, which we're going to do now, in here, and then that's going to create a random selection of rocks here within the room, which are then going to slowly float around, and then eventually we could develop it into, if you hit them then you take damage. So, in the rock create event, we're going to have to add, we're going to drag over some code, and we're going to just put some simple variables in. So, let's just name it like that. Put some simple variables in. Variables in. Okay, so let's think, what kind of variables will we need? Well, let's do max rocks, and that's going to be in the room but once. We're going to say 10. Don't know if that's going to work or not, we'll just give it a go. Let's say min rocks equals 5, and yeah, that should probably be enough for the time being. Now let's create a create event, a step event even. Drag over some code. Now in this we're going to want to spawn a few random rocks. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to say if instance count, is that a thing, instance count, or I just made that up? No, we haven't made that up, but I don't think that's quite what I meant. Instance count. They know, alright, all the instances in the room. So what we can then do is we can just add up the instances in this room, so we can see we have our spaceship, our planets, our other planets, and our object rock creator. So that is 4. So then if we go into the step and we say that -4 is bigger than max rocks. We will try and optimize this a bit later to make it work slightly better than manually adding them all up, but for the time being that works. So if it is less than the max rocks, we're going to just create a new one. We're going to want to use ran x and ran y, which we haven't actually set yet, but we'll do that in a minute. And object rock. Okay, now above this we're going to want to set our ran x and ran y. So it's going to be pretty simple. Random, it's going to be room width, and var ran y equals random room height. Now that's pretty simple, right? Basically what we're doing is we're seeing if we have less instances of rocks in our room than our maximum amount of rocks, then we're going to pick a random place in our room and we're going to create a new rock there. Pretty simple. So now if we give that a run, that should, fingers crossed, work. Now problem is these rocks will never disappear, they will never move, and basically they'll just be stood there, which is pretty boring. Obviously they'll be in different places, but not in particularly interesting places. Now I've just noticed something that's going to be a pain, because I've made my rocks black and the background is black. So let's quickly go and change that to be something a little bit more standing out. Now we're not going to stick with the red, but the red makes it at least a little bit more obvious to spot, because there's nothing in space that's red currently. So if we give this a run, we should hopefully see about 10 different stationary rocks just hanging around in space. So you can see there's one, there's another one, there's 3, and as you can see they're in completely random places. Now that's absolutely fine for the moment, but they're pretty boring rocks. We probably need a few more than 10 actually. So what we're going to do inside our object rocks is we're going to make a step event. Now I guess potentially we could just use these little things here. We could just pick to do a random one, but for the purpose of this we're going to code it all, because that would be pretty awesome, right? So what are we going to want to do? So let's say we're going to change direction. Actually, we'll need some variables to start with. So let's set them up in the create event. So set some variables. So we're going to say max time equals room speed times 5, and min time equals room speed. Now what this is going to be is this is going to be our variables that will say between those two values what time are we going to change direction and move in a different direction. So what else do we need here? We'll need, I think that's everything actually. I think that is just about everything. So now what we're going to do is movement. So we're going to want to create if count equals 0, because I don't know if you know this, but my alarm has kind of broken at the moment, so I'm having to make my own alarm system like this. Now what this will do is it will add 1 to our step counter every single step, and then if we don't want that, we want, actually in our create event we do need to set one last variable, which will be time equals random range min time max times. This will just pick a starting time between those two. Then we're going to say if the count equals time, so that random time we picked there, then we're going to want to change direction. So we're going to say dir equals, and we want to make that in here as well, dir equals, I don't know, we'll start off at 10, let's see. So back in the step, if we're going to want to set the dir to be random 360. That will basically put us in a random new direction. Now we're going to want to move in that direction, so move towards point. This should work. We're going to need to convert our direction into a point if we want to use that, which isn't really going to work. We want to move in a certain direction, and my mind's just gone entirely blank on that, so we might have to just have a quick look on here. There is actually a built-in direction, so maybe that would work. Okay, let's try and use that actually. Direction equals that. Speed equals 1. Okay, let's give that a run, and if that does work, if it does, then we will just go with that. If not, I will have to probably put it on hold and have a little Google on how to do that, because it's completely slipped my mind. I've used it in other projects, but for some reason it's not got it at the moment. One thing to note in here, we do need to set the count variable to a default 0 just to start with. So let's run that and give that a go now. Fingers crossed this will work. As I say, it's completely slipped my mind how you actually do that. I'm pretty sure there's a simple way of doing it, but completely lost it at the moment. I think they are moving, just the speed is so ridiculously slow that it's not actually doing anything. So let's change the speed to 100 and set the speed there to 100 as well. This might be ridiculously fast and we might have to put this on hold, but we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go there. That's all we're here to do. It's just trial and error pretty much. So let's see if these things move. Okay, they're moving super fast. That was way too fast. Let's try that back down at 10, shall we? Maybe that was a little bit over the top. We want them to go pretty slow actually, because if you think about it, they're in space, they're not going to move incredibly fast. And in fact, are they going to change direction at all? Maybe that's something we need to consider. I don't know. Okay, they've all appeared to have done a walk. They've all just gone. We just completely missed them. Obviously, they are moving. They are quite capable of moving. And in the next episode, what we'll do is we'll destroy them if they go off the screen, and that is when our rock creator will create new ones. And yeah, so I think they are doing kind of the right thing that we told them to do. But the problem is they are A, moving so fast, and B, they aren't being destroyed when they go off the screen. So in the next video we'll do some of that fun stuff, but for now that's going to be it. If you like the video, remember to like it, subscribe, or just do what you guys want to do, and I will talk to you in the next one.